Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a free-for-all King of the Hill diplomacy game with no teams. So the last man standing victory. We're going to be playing on Kilimanjaro. This is going to be on patch 4.8, the new patch Age of Empires 2 HD edition. If you want to learn more about it, you can find a link in the video description below. I'm going to post it in the Twitch chat right now, where you go through my intro really fast. I actually had the honor of being part of testing for patch 4.8, so I'm really proud of how patch 4.8 came out. I think it's a huge step in the right direction for the game. I'm going to really briefly flash the changelog on the screen. I would like to do a more comprehensive video on the balance changes in the future. Bingo! If you're looking for this, then you can just copy down the URL, which you can find in the video description below. It's most important things. Right now it's an open beta. You can opt into it by going to the Steam properties and then going to the beta tab and selecting open beta patch 4.8. By the time you watch this, it might be the public build. Multiplayer restore works again. There's some side effects. Performance improvements. You can now play Ludicrous, thank God. Scrolling improvements. Good stuff. Good. Desync improvements, yes. New bugs, excellent. Some bug fixes, good. Lots of balance changes, which I will not be going over in too much detail in this video, but what you need to know is arrow slits, destroyed, thank God. African kingdoms, rebalanced, good. Portuguese Feitoria, nerfed. Malians, nerfed. Ethiopians, nerfed slightly. Excellent stuff. Let's get into this game. If you want to find my live stream schedule, you can find it on my Twitch page by going there and scrolling underneath the video player. Nailed it. Whew. Was that good? I think that was good. How did I do, guys? Oh! Please load in. If I don't load in, I'm going to be very disappointed in this patch. Come on, man. Excellent stuff. Okay, so I need to turn on the timer. Pretty happy with how that intro worked out. Okay, so I'm going to start off by introducing the players. As well, by the way, thank you, Flotch for the $1. I just realized it was Flotch. Cuban Dude for the 2-month resub. Thank you. Uger Iceman will be playing as the Red Turks. We have Gulgoy playing as the Green Malians. Mo Diaper playing as the Yellow Malians. The Black Ones playing as the Teal Vikings on a land map. We have TK the PK playing as the Purple Franks. Tormacoy playing as the Grey Italians. And Levic7 playing as the Orange Teutons. I believe all of these civs did end up getting significant changes in patch 4.8, and a lot of the balance changes were ones that I actually suggested myself. Someone in the chat recently asked a little bit about my thoughts on the Berbers changes. Again, I will do a comprehensive balance video later. It's just that I would like a chance to play with them a little bit more, but I am very happy with the changes to the Genitur line and the Berbers in general. They're basically exactly what I would have done. And yeah, we're playing on Kilimanjaro. Why exactly? Renaissance 22. Don't you hate all the African Kingdoms maps because they don't have enough trees, even though they look really pretty and they're very well designed? Yes, you would be correct. However, one of the changes that I'm really happy about, I like the small things, little usability fixes that I can do to make your guys' life just a little bit easier. So I requested to the devs that we make acacia trees 150 wood instead of 100, something I'm very proud of. So this means that hopefully the African Kingdoms maps, which are plagued by having, just too few trees, will hopefully be a little bit more fun to play. Because in general, people didn't really enjoy playing on maps like Serengeti and Kilimanjaro that much due to the very reduced wood lines. Not only is the map impossible to wall, but it can be very unfair based off your wood spawns. Having the, if your tree line is like really tiny or like facing your opponent, then it's just super duper awful since the trees just disappear so fast. I like both Voobly and the Steam version, Leohi. Right now, if you're watching this live, I've been working a lot on a very comprehensive update video where I'll be talking a little bit about the new Hearthstone expansion, things going on in my life, plans for the future, Age of Empires 2 stuff, etc. So that's coming soon. Maybe by the time you watch this on YouTube, I'll already have that out, but that's what I've been working on. It's taken me several days of recording and uploading, but I think it's turning out pretty well. I may have gotten carried away, I may have gotten a little bit carried away with the editing, and it almost ended up... It went from a vlog to almost a documentary. I'm really looking forward to watching this game. I think that the patch 4.8 is going to be excellent for the game. I like the balance changes, the performance improvements. It's a step in the right direction, but don't get me wrong. HD is missing a lot of the things that Voobly has, and I don't know if HD will ever get them, like improved spectator function. Thank you so much, Flitch, for the $1. It says, do or do not use this money wisely. It matters not to me. I agree, Ladiak. Ladiak says, I'm glad the Ethiopians got nerfed. Halberdia for free upon hitting Imp was a huge power spike considering its cost. Indeed, I think that the Ethiopians got nerfed in exactly the right spots, and, you know, as usual, I am very happy with Cision's choice of balance changes, and for the most part, they are exactly the ones I would have done myself. I'm very happy with the Vikings change. Chieftains now affects all infantry units rather than just Berserks, so, you know, gives their infantry, I think, like, +4 attack versus cavalry or something like that, and that applies to everything. So it means their pikemen are just a little bit stronger against the mounted units, but most importantly, it applies to their champions, and I think this is just a really good change for them in general. Their pikemen are still going to be worse than halberdiers, I think, in most situations, because they still do less damage versus cavalry, because the big thing with the halberdier is it has a significant attack bonus versus cavalry. It's, like, hidden. But I do think that they're really just solid changes. The odd start in this map is really going to throw these players off. This is Kilimanjaro. In African Kingdoms, the developers really tried to do something different, and this is something I want to hear your guys' opinion on, whether you think it was for better or for worse. Not only do we have these maps where the tree line is very difficult to wall because they're spread out, it does look beautiful if you do not have the mod that I have, Pussywood, which does shrink the trees down. We use that for gameplay purposes, so it's easier to select the trees, but aesthetically, the maps are stunning. They did try to change around the starts a lot. Like, common complaint in African Kingdoms was that the special maps all had, like, a different set of villagers at the beginning, and here we see you know, a very abnormal distribution of resources between the players. I believe there are only 4 goats in Kilimanjaro, and then a significant extra amount of zebras, which are functionally the same as deer. By the way, thank you so much for those of you who have taken the time to you know, share my videos around, leave a thumbs up and whatnot. I really appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Especially with the non-Age of Empires 2 content, so thank you, thank you. Let's see. Emilico says, hope you read this, Resonance. Just want to say that you're an excellent streamer. Your sense of humor is on point, yes. And I'm really hoping and participating in future streaming games. This is my first live Twitch. I've been following you on YouTube for quite a long time. Well, thank you so much, Emilico. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I love reading comments like that. It makes my day, because at the end of the day, I don't know, it makes all the work that I put in worthwhile, so thank you. I think one of the most important changes in patch 4.8 is obviously that Ludicrous is now playable. I think a reasonable person would ask why Ludicrous was in the game when the frame rate was so low, but, you know, I'm just happy that there's progress, and I'm just happy that I could have been a part of the, you know, the team behind the testing to make sure that patch 4.8 was better polished. I think as a team we've already made a pretty significant difference, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that down the line, but a little bit less so now. Now I'm just enjoying the patch 4.8 fruits, and one of them is of course going to be the update to Resonance Bot, my custom AI in the Steam Workshop, which you can find by scrolling in the video description below. If you didn't know, as Terminator points out in the comments every time, thank you Terminator, I try to update Resonance Bot really quickly whenever a patch comes out, and patch 4.8 came out while I was at BlizzCon, so it's, you know, kind of unfair, but that's just how life works. Things only happen when I'm out of town. And I did update Resonance Bot to patch 4.8, so you should notice some significant improvements, like it no longer... And this is due to a lot of the patch 4.8 engine improvements allowing me to do these things. Like, the AI no longer, you know, chases your units with its villagers. If you're, like, poking it with the scouts, that's really, really nice. Tower rushing is still, like, kind of laming it in abuse, but it's a significant improvement. The villagers and units also freeze a lot less when you attack them, and I managed to adjust the difficulty significantly, so I'm really happy with that. If you subscribe to Resonance Bot on Steam, then the update will be downloaded automatically, and you can opt into patch 4.8 beta by checking the instructions in the video description at the Steam community patch notes link, but it might already be public by then. Okay, says you made age great again, Kappa. Thank you, but it's a team effort, my friend. I'm just happy to be a part of it. Like, for all the complaining I do about HD, I want to make sure that it's productive, and I always try and keep it that way, and make sure that I do my part to make it just a little bit better. Thank you so much, Dilbert UK for the 11-month resub, and Unflatschnurrit name for the $1. Alright, back into the actual game itself. So, I talk about the early game a lot. The most important thing here is that it's just going to take some practice for players to get used to the different distribution of resources. When it comes to... I just wanted to talk about a couple things before we got into it. When it comes to Kilimanjaro, this is a very difficult map to wall, so what should you be doing? Probably going for some sort of... basically prep to be rushed. So you probably want to go for a faster feudal age. in general, and then try and defend yourself from there. Most of the wood is actually in the middle of the map, and this is King of the Hill, by the way, so here is the center monument. The player that has a military unit next to this will start this timer that will appear in the top right, and then when that number hits 0, that is when the game is over, so the player that has control of the monument when the timer hits 0 wins the game. I have not locked teams. This is last man standing, so players will be able to forge alliances with each other and backstab each other if they so desire, but only one can win. So I hope players are, aware that they should betray the person when the timer hits 100 years so that they don't get any free wins. But if you've been watching my free-for-all King of the Hill games, then we know just how. Often people forget that the game mode is actually King of the Hill, so we'll have to see how this goes. Thank you, Flayoeich, for the $1. Someone has just a lot of dollars to give. Oh, man. Looks like TK the PK will be going for stone walls. Now, that being said, what I just said before was generally speaking if you were playing not a free-for-all King of the Hill game. I suppose if you are playing a free-for-all King of the Hill diplomacy game like we are right now, then I guess going for a fast castle age and some stone walls is not necessarily insane. The only thing, though, about this, if we're talking about TK the PK, I understand why he would do this. It's just that he's not really protecting that much. And you have to consider this when you're building your walls, is how much can you actually contain within it? We see the timer here has indeed began. Tormacoy is the person who started it, as hopefully it didn't crash the game. Good. When we said patch 4.8 had performance improvements, baby steps, guys. Everything is all relative. Is patch 4.8 better? Yes. Is it good? It's getting there. Thank you, Chipmunk's Grace. Says your stuff doesn't get old. Can't stop watching your vids on YouTube. I subscribe to one person, you res, and that means a ton. Thank you so much, Chipmunk's Grace. I really appreciate it. The game needs, Exum1024 asks, what in your opinion should be changed and tweaked in patches after 4.8? This is something I will talk about in the future. I think the game still needs significant performance improvements, changes to the improvements to unit pathing. We saw in the lobby, by the way, that like the color palette was wrong. I think it's still wrong in the scores here. It's just a little bit off. Like I feel like this is not the right shade of green or red. They look like slightly faded. I think the teal is correct. It's very strange. Color palette in the lobby is all messed up. That does need to be fixed. The unit pathing is pretty bad, and I still think there are some performance improvements that can be done. I think it's better now, but I would like to see more. So anyway, with your stone walls, you want to be thinking about what you can protect reasonably. And here, there is actually no wood line besides this one that's within these walls. So if these walls are supposed to protect something, and they're really just protecting his mineral line, I feel like, this can be... I don't know. I mean, it's kind of nice to have the stone and gold inside here, but, to protect these double stone mines, you could very easily accomplish the same thing by putting a castle here and a castle here to protect the gold. So I feel like this is kind of a waste of stone from TK, but I understand why you would do this. He is indeed right next to Mo Diaper, and that is a dicey situation. Black Winds will be up to the Castle Age, so we now have 3 players in the Castle Age, Golgoy, Levick, and the Black Winds. I kind of want to see the Black Winds win this, just because I really like the change to the Vikings. That's Cision at work, my friends. He's a very, very clever designer, and I always love reading his patch notes. You can just, so Bulldog asks, can't you just wall around the monument? You cannot build on this black terrain. Henshaw says, make them reduce the delay. That's the idea. While I had the honor of working with them on patch 4.8, I didn't actually... I'm not an engineer, so whatever's going on with the game, I can only report the issues rather than necessarily guarantee that they get fixed, but I can definitely report them. Skybox is aware that there are delay issues, but I don't know if they know how to address them. That'll be something that I'll be pushing for. What I like about this opportunity is that it gives me a way to, I guess, use all the feedback that I've been collecting from you guys over the years. And then one day I really hope to be able to use all that feedback about knowing exactly what makes Age of Empires 2 so fun, and then build our own RTS game. That's the goal. Thank you so much, EC the Lion, for $63.27. That's a very arbitrary but very generous value. Thank you so much, EC the Lion. Helps out a lot. He says, are you mocking me? You think this is funny? Thank you so much. By the way, for those of you who are subbed with Twitch Prime does not automatically renew your subscription, but Twitch Prime does give you a free Twitch subscription every month. So you do have to manually renew that if you do want to continue supporting the channel with your Amazon Prime subscription. Find more information on Twitch Prime by going to the Twitch Prime website. I think everybody here is just kind of fast castling and playing defensively. When you are doing a free-for-all game, I think that's kind of fair to do. I think that's okay. But I think that the dominant strategy here on Kilimanjaro, what I would like to see is a player like Uger Iceman grabbing a bunch of his villagers in the Castle Age, trying to get some of that map control. Kilimanjaro has a significant amount of resources in the middle of the map, and primarily this is where most of the wood is. Thank you, Resonance22, for making it 150 wood. It's not as bad, but it's still have to fight for control of the middle here, so I would like to see some forward buildings, particularly some forward castles and whatnot. Since the monument isn't actually in the middle of the hill, it's actually kind of funny, because it makes it much harder for someone like Levick to actually win the game, or at least wall this, because then he's going to get trebbed on the other side of this, whereas, you know, if TK the PK wanted to fortify this, or Modiper did, then they could build their fortifications up here, and then people would have to tread them from the low ground, dealing 25% reduced damage, and then the buildings take 25% less as well. 23, Louis Koss says, hey, Resonance22, great content. What skill set do you need to work with AIs? I think a significant amount of patience. Building an AI is just something that is really time-consuming, and I think you need a vision for it. You need to know exactly what your AI brings to the table that others don't. So you have to kind of have a game plan, you need to be patient. You know, I think that it's something that anyone can do, but not something that everyone should do. It should be something that if you ask yourself, is that something that you would find really, like, why do you want to build that AI? What you need is you need motivation. You need the right reasons to do it. And I'll talk about this in a future video, and I've talked about this before in some, you know, why I made Resonance Bot, but I really wanted an AI that was not only an excellent practice partner, was more adaptable with the difficulties, but something fun you could just play with your friends. And I think I really achieved that. And I was working on Resonance Bot at a time where really only the Conqueror's AI was the thing in HD. And I'm just really proud with how Resonance Bot turned out. So you need a vision. You need patience. It can be really frustrating working on an AI when you're not sure exactly what's going on, but I think it's something that anyone can do. Thanks so much, Adwians, for subbing with Twitch Prime. Much appreciated. Flash asks, if you were a Gaia entity in this game, what would you be? That's actually a very tough question. Don't know. I like birds, but the birds can't do anything. So even though they're totally free and can go anywhere, they can't do anything, so I don't know what I'd be. I don't want to be sheep, because I just get eaten. Llamas are cool, but they just get eaten too. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to be a guy unit. I think I'd want to be involved. Uger Iceman is going for Janissaries. I think this is fairly interesting. Yeah, he just has his castle here. I think that the ideal place to put this castle, though, would have been on top of this hill. Let's go to the Fog of War perspective. Okay, so yeah, he has scouted around a lot. He has very good vision. I think that you wanted to put it up here. I understand why he would put it here, though. He put it here because this is, of course, within the path of his own base, but I do think that the optimal positioning for this was up here. It is easier for him to defend a position like such, but he doesn't have to worry about battering rams coming down from the top side of this. Although, in retrospect, that's less of a thing, but he only has to worry about that really coming from TK or Modiper having battering rams with like an elevation advantage attacking this castle. That's probably not going to be too relevant. It is very difficult to see hills in HD. Oh, you know what else this game still needs? Resolution options. What are the resolution options? I don't know. I find it a little bit absurd. And yes, I am a nerd indeed. Babelius, I tried to make my AI harder than the current AI on all difficulties, so that's totally normal, man. It's supposed to be a good, fun practice partner, something you play with your friends, so it is harder, but I wanted it to be harder. So there's no shame in playing against it on standard, for example, if you can beat the default AI on moderate, because I wanted to make Resonance Bot one step above. Be Javelina. Javelina would still die. Yeah, so this game needs resolution This game needs a lot of things. I think resolution options should have been probably one of the first things in the development pipeline, because if you're like me, and I don't think that many people are, unfortunately, but I browse the forums, I browse Reddit a lot, so whenever you guys post about me or share my stuff, I do see it, so thank you. I'm chatting with everybody all the time on Steam, I'm reading all the comments everywhere, and one of the most common comments that I get and the game gets in general is, how do I change my screen resolution, or I can't see anything, I'm on 4K. How do I fix that? And the answer is, you have to change your desktop resolution. That's kind of silly. I think that should have been one of the higher priorities in the development pipeline, in my personal opinion. Considering how many users are affected by it. I think that's one of the first things, if you come back to Age of Empires 2, that you'll notice is that, oh wow, HD is really cool, it has all this DLC. I mean, the color palette's off, that's really weird, they should fix that. But whoa, how do I change my resolution? There are no graphics options either. They removed the ability to make hills more visible by changing the graphic options, but really it's the resolution thing that needs to be fixed. This game does need a spectator dashboard, SM Zimran, but that's a little bit harder. Indeed, Ladiak. It does not... I've been adjusting the difficulties a lot recently. At least in 1v1, it does not receive any gold after 50 minutes in the game, so if it still has gold, then... And I have reduced it. If it still feels like it has gold, then that's because it's using the market and or has relics. But I try to have it take advantage of the market a lot. Well, hopefully some action begins in a little bit, but I wanted to since I figured that the start of this might be a little slow, let me know what you think. I felt like it would be appropriate for me to spend the beginning of this video just talking about things, answering your guys' questions, making sure that everyone's all on the same page here and we're all excited for the upcoming patch 4.8. We'll swap back to... We'll just go to Levik's perspective. So Levik is very clearly on a team with Red. Okay, so Levik is on a team with everybody but Red, but he's building a mining camp here? What the hell? This has to be the worst play I've ever seen in a free-for-all king. No, I'm kidding. But I'm legitimately confused. So this is at least the most confusing play I've ever seen. So he is allied with every single player in this game except Ughur Iceman, and he is attempting to steal Ughur Iceman's gold mine out from underneath him. That is the only person that should not work against. Plus, Ughur Iceman is also... Yeah, and Ughur Iceman is enemies to Orange. What the hell am I looking at? I mean, I can't tell because it's still lagging really badly, but... Good lord. See you, Togoroka. Have a wonderful dinner with your family, and thank you so much for tuning in. Good to have you back. Yeah, Bolsa Boy, we'll check out Ughur Iceman's low score as soon as I watch him kill these gold miners. The hell is I looking at? So, Ughur Iceman has 94 population. Let's compare it to Golgoy. I'm assuming it's an economy size thing. It could also be technologies researched. 121, so there's about a 30 population lead between the players. That is not really accounted for here. It's not scouting, so I would say that he has significantly fewer buildings. I think he has significantly fewer buildings in a smaller economy and just has fewer technologies researched. And this happens a lot with the Turks, where they pull ahead early on, but they end up running out. You know, they end up falling behind in score due to them just kind of tunnel visioning on just gunpowder units. Whereas I believe that Golgoy has significantly more technologies research bolstering his score. He also just has more building, and he might have slightly better scouting information. Well, Golgoy is moving in with some Arbalists. I do think Arbalists are an excellent choice here. Even though he's the Malians and he does not get the Bracer upgrade, Golgoy is thinking a little bit outside of his own tech tree and thinking more about counters, which I do think is appropriate here, considering that Ughur Iceman is still in the Castle Age. It's also the Imperial Age for Golgoy that is making a big difference here in the score. So, Arbalists do beat Janissary, so really glad to see those utilized here. He could be going for infantry and it's being the Malians, you know, something like Gabitos and whatnot, but I think that would be the wrong play here, considering his opponent has a gunpowder army. He's the Turks. We generally know what they're going for. They're probably, based off their tech tree, they're going for things that, like, hand cannoneers, bombard cannons, maybe some hussars. I think Mangonel choice is also really smart from Ughur Iceman as a way to counter this, and now we're getting into some exciting Age of Empires 2 action. Levik will be building a forward castle and a forward archer range. Will the slightly faster Teutonic Knights be OP in this game? I'm really looking forward to it. Ragemaster asks, how often do you stream Hearthstone? Not often enough. I stream it like every 2 or so weeks. I'd like to stream it more, but you know, I was hoping that there would be just a little bit more support for that. So we'll see. Because I don't like streaming for kind of an empty audience, even though it's a game that I really thoroughly do enjoy, so... We'll see. There are more Hearthstone streams on the way, and I do have a very, very big video about that in my update video coming, so... Keep in mind that the left column shows the other stance to you. Right. It's just that they're both, yeah, they're both enemies to each other. I always get that mixed up. Either way, all I need to know is that red and orange are not actually on the same team. Orange could share a gold mine with anybody, but he chose to share it with red. A little bit of a unit pathing disaster here. Thank you so much, Goodbye Mr. A, for the 3-month resub. Really appreciate it, and a pleasure to have you as always. Fun fact, Goodbye Mr. A on my Steam friends list has the highest hours in Age of Empires 2 HD by far. Somehow he has double mine. I don't even. No, don't make this a contest by leaving your game running on in the background, guys. That's not gonna work. Not gonna be keeping track of that after this, but yes, fun fact. Best starter civ might be something like the Britons or Byzantines or, you know, the Goths. Yeah, I know that the Goths are... it depends what map you're playing and who you're playing against, as the Goths being a good starter civ. Spamming Goths infantry is a great way to win when you're playing versus your friends, but if you're actually playing online versus people in Arabia, then Goths are not a good starter civ, as you will get destroyed with your lack of walls and early game defenses, and lack of early game eco bonus. But if you're playing against slow people, they're really good. Same thing with Turks. Really good beginner civ if you're playing against slow people. Or on a slower map like Black Forest, it's easier to defend. Thank you so much, Urban Core, for the $3. He says, justice demands retribution. Well, right about now, both players are swapping control of the center monument consistently, and it looks like Uger Iceman will be plopping down some bombard towers. He does not have the fletching upgrade, really any upgrade for his bombard towers. No artillery yet for him, as he did try and go for a little bit of an earlier military-oriented strategy, so he's a bit behind in his upgrades, but he will be able to catch up on them relatively soon. Just checking out the other players' bases really fast. Levick up to the Imperial Aid. Bombard towers are going to be really important here as a way to just hold onto land and salt the earth behind him. He's trying to hold onto as much of the map as possible. Does need to repair this castle, though, by the way. Otherwise, if he does indeed lose this, that's going to be a significant blow to his economy. 650 stone down the drain is no joke. You always want to repair the castles unless you're guaranteed to lose it and you're really running low on stone. Bombard towers, I like this. He's generally putting them on the higher ground as well, just moving the line forward. I think he has a very strong unit comp here. I like that he has the padded archer armor upgrade to deal with the enemy ranged units. Makes quite a significant difference. I think the Golgoi is making the right units in this situation, but I think he's just sending them in, you know, one at a time, which I think is not the right play here. So off the Golgoi's perspective, I think he needs to mass up his units just a bit more, pull these cap rams back, because they're just going to die for free, unless he's going to try and use them to take out those bombard cannons. Probably not going to work. So up to Golgoi's perspective, so... Golgoi's on the same team with the Black Winds to get the PK Tourniquet, so he's enemies with Uger Iceman, neutral to Mo Diaper. Interesting. So neutral to yellow, enemies to red. He's moving in the battering rams right now. I think this is not the right play. I think you only want to move into the capped rams when you have enough military units to back it up. He also needs to make sure that his skirms are always on the high ground here. He's going to go straight for the bombard towers. I think it's not the right play just because he hasn't taken out these bombard cannons yet. If he can take out that castle, though, this will be huge. He is going for the castle right now. Will he be able to take it out? The answer is maybe. Oh, God, he waited so long to repair this. By the way, does not get it. Bombard towers actually only deal 1 damage to capped rams, siege rams, battering rams, so they are the counter of choice here. So we have a very large super alliance dealing with the Red Turk menace, as he is just moving the line forward. He now has his Bodkin upgrade, it looks like. Or, no, he doesn't. Oh, no, so he has artillery, but no fletching or anything. That's interesting. Mangonel's gonna die. Golgoi having difficulty keeping his population up right about now, because he's just streaming in his units just a little bit too often. Thank you, Lyrie Luna, for the $1. Really appreciate it. A little paintball, what else? If anyone has any questions for me, feel free to wait a couple of minutes between them and then just ask me again. And I will try to get to you. But right now, I am trying to focus on casting the game. The castle will go down. Good to see him actually try and repair it, though. The Tourniquet moving it. Condottieri are an interesting unit that I wasn't really aware of this, but they might be a little too good. We nerfed their training time a little bit, so again, you know, for those of you who make these threads in Reddit, and just let us know, leave comments on YouTube, Twitch, you name it. You guys help make Age of Empires 2 a more balanced, better plays. Condottieri were something that kind of slipped by us in testing. We didn't realize that they are actually very strong. They might need additional nerfs, to be honest. This unit just has excellent combat stats, so good to see it utilized here. It is at least absurd if you have Goss on your team, for sure. So, looks like red is getting ganged up on by just about everybody, but he must have some friends in this universe. It looks like purple and teal will be his friends. So we have red, purple, and teal. So it looks like we're going off proximity here. So teal, red, and purple. Oh, we're not. So it looks like red is on a team with teal. I cannot select his units. That's something else that needs to be fixed in Age of Empires 2 HD Edition. It's very hard to select the Berserk for some reason. And it looks like Ugar Iceman is going to get backstabbed. Oh, that sucks. Hope he's not too upset and he can be a good sport about this. And he will actually just resign. Did not see that one coming, so the Black Winds did indeed double cross him. Rip Ugar Iceman, the player that I've been just staring at for half this game, was in a very good position to actually do something with his teammates, but the Black Winds doing that Viking raiding thing, coming in here. Does he have the Chieftains upgrade? I'm just going to assume automatically yes. Berserk's very underrated. Unique unit, by the way. It's decent. Generally better than a champion, but more difficult to mass up than champions. Did not expect that. That is unfortunate for him. So one player down immediately. I think Monk's ability to convert buildings is ridiculous conceptually, but incredibly fun from a gameplay standpoint. Tragedy, catastrophe. Converting a building to Christianity is very difficult. Flatch S, would you rather have no knees or no elbows? No knees, but God, that sounds awful. As far as I'm aware, gunpowder damage is pierce damage, by the way, urban cohort, but they have like hidden attack bonus versus things. Like hand cannoneers do end up doing like 3 extra damage to rams, I believe. Yeah, poor Ugar Iceman. We're gonna swap to some other not dead player's perspective. A tragedy. I do think he played this game very well, and I did like his build order. It's just he was not prepared for the surprise Black Winds out of nowhere. Would he have been able to rebuild? It depends if he wanted to play that game. This is Kilimanjaro, so he's kind of forced into the middle. I think he could have, you know, joined forces with TK, but I don't blame him for resigning there. Right about now, purple is in control of the center of the map, so we have our Franks player. Throwing Axemen did end up getting 10 additional HP as a way to differentiate them more from the Gebito unique unit, the Malian unique unit, which is like a throwing axeman that is faster and frailer. So we've been trying to make the throwing axemen differentiated a little bit and give them extra HP so they feel like a slower, tankier, a little bit weaker Gebito, and I think that it's a really interesting change. Is it OP? We'll find out. Orange moving in here with some onagers, clearing out all of red stuff, because you never know when red will come back from the dead as a zombie Iceman, and win this game, but I think that that is quite unlikely. By the way, let me know if you guys have any suggestions for future things that you think I should do for various videos. I realize that the Free For All King of the Hill stuff is fairly popular, as well as the Civ Matchup video, so I would like to do more in a similar style to that. Looks like Mo Diaper will be going on Golgoy. This could be the thing that eliminates Golgoy from the game. Let's swap over to Mo Diaper's perspective here and check out his vision. He's moving straight into Green's base. Green's going to have almost no way to defend himself here. Is probably going to lose almost everything unless he can get some assistance from his friends. And this is where we find out exactly how good are your allies. Are they your real friends? I think what's going on right now is we're seeing that there can only be one Malians player in the game, and Mo Diaper is making the executive decision here to be the only Malians player in this game. Golgoy's momentum petering out. How will he survive this attack? It looks like nobody is going to back him up, but who are his friends? There is no assistance yet coming in from the Black Winds, Tormakoy, or Levick, so as they are all allied with Green, but none of them have decided to aid him. Absolutely devastating. Flash asks, would you rather have a head the size of a tennis ball or the size of a watermelon? Does that directly affect my intelligence? My ability to cast Age of Empires games, play other games, and do what I love, and hopefully build an RTS game? I'd probably go with the watermelon-sized head, assuming that it affects my intelligence in some way, because the tennis ball-sized head means I'd probably end up designing a really bad RTS game. My opinion on My opinion on Flatch 4.8, Rage Master. I've been trying to say it wrong, but I keep saying it like slightly correct or slightly too wrong. I meant to say Flatch 4.8. It's very hard to say. Rage Master, I think it's a step in the right direction, and that there's more work to be done, essentially. It does not affect my intelligence. Still probably a large head, but I don't know. The urban cohort. I'm not sure upon on Swanson. If there's any demand for it, I just don't know how interesting it'd be to watch. It's worth noting, by the way, guys, that once the timer drops below 100 years, if the hill swaps ownership, then it does indeed reset back to 100 years. Black one's coming in here with the most OP civ on land in existence. Not necessarily. The Vikings on land historically have been a civ that is very strong early on due to their free wheelbarrow and handcart bonuses, but they do drop off significantly in the later stages of the Imperial Age. Due to a lot of things, primarily their tech tree, they lack a really strong late game unit, no strong cavalry units, and a significant weakness to cavalry in general. People often forget that the halberdier, even though it has only 2 more attack from a pikeman, the thing is that the halberdier has an additional 11 or something attack bonus versus cavalry over the pikeman. So the Vikings historically just get, and by historically I mean in Age of Empires 2, get absolutely mowed down by those paladin civilizations, and that's why I really like this change to the unique technology chieftains that the Vikings got in the Forgotten expansion to Age of Empires 2 HD Edition on Steam. I do like the chieftains change because this means that the Vikings now have a way of dealing with those civs that have absurdly powerful cavalry units, so... Well, it looks like no one's here to help Golgoy, so he has no real friends. Orange moving in here with Bombard Towers. Like I said, he is on the low ground, though, so that will be a little bit of a problem for him. Meanwhile, Gray moving the line forward here. He does have a couple of... Actually, no, those are oranges on it, Gris. Shooting at yellow houses. This is confusing. There are yellow houses here. What exactly is Gray's military? I haven't really seen that much of it. Looks like he hasn't really made too many military units right about now. Lots to see how Golgoy reacts to the situation. TK the PK, it looks like he's moving out to do some raiding. Levick going onto the high ground here, backed by his ally Orange. Let's offer to Levick's perspective. So Levick going to be dropping this castle down here with the assistance of TK the PK, who's a very large, well-balanced army, mind you. I think excellent choice in units on his part. He does even have the siege engineers upgrade, so good on him. But here come these OP Vikings. Love the chieftains change so much. Teutonic Knights with a slight increase in movement speed. I would love to see some of those this game. We'll have to see. There really aren't that many right now. We see the fairly standard from the Teutons. We have halberdiers, hand cannoneers, some siege weapons. He does indeed have the upgrades for these. He's missing heavy scorpion, but he does have ironclad. TK the PK doing some raiding the Great Equalizer. We'll be trying to weaken the economy of his opponents by picking off these exterior villagers that are far away from these local defenses like castles. Tormacoy did have a large group of condottieri earlier, and he is making just a fairly well-balanced army. If you're new to the game, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you build every building, research every technology, and just build a wide variety of units if you don't really know what to build, because then you end up in a situation where you probably got all your upgrades, and your army is probably not super easy to counter. If you're making only one unit, like you say, you're making nothing but militia, then it's very easy for your opponent to make some hand cannoneers or make some archers to just mow down your army, so better to make a sort of mishmash of units than it is to just make only one type. That being said, as you get more comfortable with the game, you want to start thinking about things like, what units are strong for my civilization when choosing what you want to make, so you're limiting your army now to only a couple types of units, and units that cover each other's weaknesses. It's a very important concept. So here I do think that purple is a fairly good army. Why is the make one of everything not optimal in competitive play? It's just because you need upgrades for all those things and it becomes a little bit too slow. But when you're new, it's better to make sure that you are diversifying your tech tree and whatnot than it is to just hone in on just one thing. Looks like yellow will be backstabbing TK the PK, so purple getting betrayed by yellow. We know this because purple's units were not fighting back. Yellow moving in with his ranged army. Welcome to the stream, TXVXT. I'm doing great, thank you. I've been really busy with work recently, and I'm just happy that patch 4.8 is out, and I'm looking forward to playing some games. I will actually be playing some games on patch 4.8. I've been waiting for a significant improvement patch, and this might be it. I think it's a step in the right direction, but not necessarily the end-all be-all. But yeah, I'm in an excellent mood. It's just good to be back, and I'm really happy with how the commentary turned out for my Hearthstone videos. I only wish they were a little bit more popular, but I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact that the decks weren't that interesting, so I have to get better decks next time. But I'm really happy with how the commentary turned out for that, and I've been working on a really awesome, comprehensive update video for you guys, which hopefully is worth all the work. I think I got carried away there. Arch and Squirrel, patch 4.8. I believe it is a step in the right direction, significant improvement, but there is more work to be done. Significantly more work to be done. Timon is in Durmat. Says, seeing as Zero Empires is back, I'd love to see some massive AoE streamers match with Zero, T90, Dave, Mem, Spirit Law, Narovo. Would you be interested in that? I don't like 1v1ing playing against other streamers. I feel like that creates sort of a circle jerk argument where it's about, you know, who are the better players, and I don't know if I really want to deal with that. I think it's unfair to the weaker players who happen to do good work. That being said, I would be happy to do some sort of joint content with them, by all means. Always happy to do stuff like that. Emliko says, is it true that cataphracts almost break all of the counters since halberdiers are crushed by them? It certainly shifts around the counter tree. It's not as straightforward. Age of Empires 2 uses a system of soft counters, not hard counters. We see a lot of raiding going on, by the way, from TK to PK, and now poor Orange getting wiped out by Teal. No one should trust the Black Winds in these free-for-all games, man. He's bloodthirsty. Coming in here with his army of infantry and siege rams, tearing up everything. His army is very weak to ranged units, but he has a bunch of siege workshops. Hopefully he's ready to prep to tech into something like Onagers, and maybe his archery ranges for skirms, or he's just living the Viking dream right now. 77 years remaining. Let me just double check. So the thing with the Cataphract is that it has like soft counters, like most units in this game, not hard counters. I say soft counters because the Halberdier loses to a Paladin 1-on-1, but wins in a cost efficiency standpoint. And you'll find that that's the case with Cataphracts, is you mass a bunch of archer units, and the Cataphract, like a Mamluk, has low pierce armor, so it will get mowed down by like mass ranged units. But you know, 1-on-1, you're not going to come out on top there. You'll still probably want to make things like Halberdiers to keep the Cataphracts off your ranged units, even though they're not very good. You just don't want to make too many of them and have them as the cornerstone of your army. I suppose even monks are a thought. Cannoneers are good. Rage Master asks, how good are Turks heavy cavalry archers? I think they're very viable if you're doing like a 1v1 and you're against the Mongols or something like that. I think that Turks heavy cavalry archers are at least a thought there. I think that was what they were originally for. I have not had too much of a chance to play with them. I think that they're strong, but the problem is, they are strong. It's just the problem is that even if the 1v1 was the Mongols, you always ask yourself as the Turks, is there something better you could be spending your gold on? And the answer is, I think, almost all the time. The Turks are so reliant on gold that you're not generally going to have the resources to spare for heavy cavalry archers. You kind of rather spend that on gunpowder units and whatnot. Well, Yellow down to 50 years remaining. Will not be able to get this castle up. Gray coming in here from behind. Is actually on a team with Yellow, I do believe, yes. Yeah, so Gray is going to try and defend him. We're at 45 years remaining. TK the PK trying his best to clear out this army, but he is outnumbered 2-1. Will the Black Winds turn around and remember that the hill is over here, or is he just trying to kill Levick? I do think that Orange should move his military units up, and it's about time that we take Yellow off the center hill. Yellow has to be very careful to keep these units on stand ground, by the way, and a really good strategy in King of the Hill is to like park a battering ram or something like right next to this. That way, just his battering ram can soak up a lot of damage. He needs to be careful not to walk off of this, because if he does, he's going to swap controller to Ray. Yellow will be moving in, that's good. Gamer 0, I'll do a game after this. Yeah, indeed, Fletch and Timon. Well. 28 years remaining for Yellow. He only has a few military units here. He needs to move in any that he actually has. Before Mo Diaper, he has a pretty weak economy and not really any forward buildings here. He has some forward houses and he has a forward university, which I do approve of, but I would like to see Black Winds actually play for the center rather than kill everybody, but I suppose if he wants to play that way, that is up to him. It looks like Yellow did end up losing control of the center barely. Got down to 20 years remaining, and now, well, Gray's still in this team. So this is good, because this means that Yellow and Gray did not ruin their alliance. Golgoy did resign, by the way. Unfortunately, losing most of his base to the Yellow Menace. There can only be one Malian. It's a shame. I feel sorry for the people who got betrayed, but now we all know. Never trust the Black Winds. And if someone's the same civilization as you better watch out. We're at 85 years remaining, or just about. Purple moving in a larger army of light cavalry units, which of course do benefit from the increased HP, but significantly worse than having bloodlines. So, but they do create very fast with the chivalry bonus. Orange has a large army of Teuton trash units. Levick actually has like no resources at all. That's just because he's lost most of his economy. Now the question that Levick has to ask himself is it time to give up, or is it time to, run and hide inside someone else? And I think that running inside someone else is a good idea. But he's really not evacuating his villagers. He's kind of just letting the Vikings have his way with them, and I don't think that's correct. I think that as you're dying, what you want to do is you want to spam as many town centers as possible, maybe like 5 or 6. Welcome, Mr. Aoe2 to the stream. You want to have like 5 or 6 town centers and just pumping out villagers from all of them, and you need to evacuate your villagers. Rebuild your economy. That should be the #1 thing in your priority list. But maybe he's resigned himself to death at this point because he's not actually running away any of his units. But I don't think he necessarily has to be out of the game. I think he could be a valuable asset for somebody. When you're playing these King of the Hill games, I think what you want to be considering is getting those weaker players on your team that you don't think are a threat to winning the game. So players that you don't need to worry about backstabbing later, but could be valuable assets. They can create an army for you, tribute you resources, but they're probably just going to be creating that army for you. So I do think that you want someone like Levick here, who is not in a good position to actually win the game at this point, but he is potentially some extra population to your side. So I think you want to let him in, welcome him in with open arms, have him rebuild in your base, team up with him, and then you should still be able to win in theory. Maybe not have him necessarily rebuild in your base, but in some sort of friendly territory. I like the Tormakoi as a secret town center over here. That's nice. I always like that kind of thing. Will Orange be rebuilding his eco? That is the question. Will Teal ever go for the middle? Don't shoot people while allied, it's rude. Purple did regain control of the center from Tormakoi. Tormakoi losing this fight a little bit. What could he be doing better? We'll have to see. What is his resource count? Tormakoi has like no gold. So you do definitely want to be trading with your allies, even if you don't necessarily trust them. Thank you so much, Commissar Robo, by the way, for the 11-month resub. Thank you, says Fat. And Nephelstius for the sub. I hope to see you in the future. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. Thank you. TXVXT says, do you think rushing yellow and orange's eco can be beneficial to the victory of other players? It can be if they're not on your team. Levick has set his stance to allied with Tormakoi. See, that's the thing that I think you want to be doing here. Evacuating some of your villagers, going inside these walls, trying to be a valuable asset, and who knows, it's also beneficial for you to do that because you could be able to usurp that victory from your ally at the last minute as well, in a way that he might be underestimating you, you might not expect it. So those are the things to watch out for. The Black One's just being a massive nuisance, just cleaning up everybody. Basically, the Black One's just kind of guaranteeing that TK gets to win the game. I hope that the Black One's isn't trolling too hard. I'd be a little bit disappointed if he didn't actually attempt to attack TK this game. So we swap over to the Black One's perspective. He is allied with TK, so I do want to make sure that he does indeed try and go for that center. Mliko says, I sometimes find very hard to play aggressive as the Teutons since they are very defensive. Is there another way to advance towards enemy lines other than the need of setting up a castle with 2 bombard towers? Certainly, building a forward castle is one of the better ways to utilize Teutonic Knights if you're not utilizing them defensively, because they do create very quickly. Levick will be resigning. The thing is though, if you want to play offensive as the Teutons, I think it's okay to not go for more of a, static defense style build. So I don't think you need to be dropping forward castles with bombard towers necessarily. The thing with the Teutons is that they actually have a very strong paladins, so you can go aggressive with the paladins while leaving the defenses at your own base, while you're slowly inching the line forward with your buildings. So I think paladins are great. You can go with knights in the castle age as well. And, you can also make things like halberdiers, hand cannoneers, but I think the paladins are going to be primarily your major offensive tool as the Teutons. They are a defensive civilization in general, but they can go aggressive with the paladins. Hopefully that helps. Oh yeah, Gulgoy asks, is my Onager still alive at the monument? No, unfortunately. You can play aggressive with any civ, but it would be easier with other civ. And in the early game, you can even go with like scouts, men-at-arms, etc., archers in the feudal age. They're relatively the same as the other civs in the early game, except they do have a pretty good economy. I would be a little bit disappointed if the Black Winds doesn't actually try to win this game. And it looks like he won't, but I would be a little bit disappointed. But we'll see. Sent him a message, but he doesn't have to. Will he be moving in to take out purple? Because honestly, I don't think he has enough time. So it looks like, for the first time in any free-for-all King of the Hill game I've ever seen, it looks like purple and teal will actually be friends to the end. Whoa, what the hell was that noise? But it looks like, indeed, TK the PK will be able to seize the game at the last minute. There's absolutely no chance that the Black Winds has, even though he's going to switch to enemy now at the last minute, but he has absolutely no chance of winning this game at this point, so... a little bit disappointing that he would do that, but something I don't really have any control over, so... Regardless, I do think this was a GG, and hope you guys enjoyed this one. Not every free-for-all King of the Hill game can be absurdly long, but perhaps it's a good thing that it ended here, so... Perhaps it is not so bad that it did not go on for too long. It does save all of us a little bit of breath and time. I do think this is an excellent game regardless, with plenty of twists and turns. And yes, these players will have absolutely no chance of clearing out TK the PK here. I think that they needed to move in at approximately 50 to 60 years if he wanted any remote chance of actually clearing this out. I think TK the PK played this game like immaculately well, so good on him. I like his unit choices. I think they were solid. Throwing Axemen are very good in a Frank Mirror match, actually, and if you check out my mass throwing Axemen, or just any of my throwing Axemen break the meta videos, I do talk about it in great detail there. They're very good in the Frank's Mirror match, and they're also a very solid answer to trash units and other infantry units. So in this type of situation where your opponent has just a lot of pikemen, a lot of infantry, I do like it. And the throwing Axemen are fairly bulky now. They do comfortably live those onager shots, which is quite nice. And I think that he just had a fairly well-balanced military. I think he did a good job rationing his resources, saving his gold, and oh, there's actually a gold mine left all the way over here. Yeah, I think the PK played like a very fair game of King of the Hill here, so props to him. He didn't do any sort of like ganging up on people craziness. Yeah, he played a very straight game. He did some solid raiding, which is I think what he needed to do to cripple all of his opponents, and then just find an opportunity to really just fortify this and then just seize the game. So it's just a textbook victory here from TK the PK. Well played, and I think everyone played well in this game. It was nice to see the Vikings, the Black Winds here just swarming over everybody with the new Vikings infantry units, and I was just trying to think if there's something I would have rather have seen from Tormacoy, but I guess he had to make the pikemen anyway just because there were paladins, but maybe mixing in some hussars would have been fine from a trash units perspective. Poor guy's just a little bit low in the gold department, and yeah, these guys just didn't have enough time to really get in there. I think the elite Gabitos are still good after the attack change, yeah. Maybe some hand cannoneers would have been nice as a way to deal with all the infantry units. Yeah, I think hand cannoneers would have been pretty good versus TK's army. I like that everyone was making bombard cannons in this game. That was nice. I think bombard cannons are very good in a King of the Hill game where you need to be able to take out those buildings, those defensive structures. You need to clear them out from a safe distance and then also continually move them forward. Trebuchets lack that mobility, so yeah, GG, well played. It was a really solid game from everybody. Oh yeah, wow, there are actually a lot of people watching today. That's great. Yeah, people seem to really enjoy the free-for-all King of the Hill games, so I will be mixing them in, occasionally. They can be a little bit exhausting to cast, and not all of them turn out to be particularly excellent, but hopefully the commentary is good regardless, and yeah. I think it's interesting if we never know how it's going to end. If they don't all have crazy twists. This one did have quite a few twists, though. Nice research count from Gulgoi. Nice, nice, nice. The players that did not have enough villagers were mostly dead, but I do think that Tormacoy could have probably made about 10 more villagers that game. He did play very well, but I feel like you always want to be hitting that 100 villager mark in the game. Uger Iceman has more of an excuse because he was dead. I guess Mo Diaper could have made 14 more villagers too. Generally, like 120 is a really good count, so the Black Winds is literally right on the dot. So yeah, 120 is really solid. You want to make sure that you have enough villagers to constantly sustain military production, and then by having, you know, somewhere in the 100 to 120 villager count, then that means that you were able to plop down additional military buildings and just keep fielding out military units. Constantly replace your army. Maybe Levick had too many villagers, but then again, he did perform very well this game, and he did a very, very large army, so it was probably fine. Lost 189 buildings. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, this color palette's wrong. This bothers me. If you play Age of Empires 2, how is this okay? But I guess Skybox doesn't play that much Age of Empires 2. But I look at this and I'm just like, this is some uncanny valley. I find this slightly disturbing. It's like just off enough. Like this orange is brown. This chicken is raw. What is this? These are no colors. These colors are wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. We're going to take a really brief break here and come back with the next match in a moment. So stay tuned, stay tuned. Thank you for watching. We have another game coming immediately after. If you've been enjoying the stream, I recommend that you follow me on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Find the live stream schedule below. But stay tuned. There's another match coming after this, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to do a Civ matchup overview of the Britons versus the Goths, so stay tuned.